This is the Godin A6 transducer here, one of Godin's own patented transducers, and a Godin humbucker in the front, and you've got blend control. You've got two outputs, blend output which combines both the pickups, or you'll get the humbucker only, and then this one will output the transducer only. The transducer comes with treble, bass and middle controls here, and transducer volume here, and then at the bottom you've got the humbucker volume, and then you've got bass and treble for the humbucker. When you've got an acoustic guitar and you try and amplify it, you've usually got a large bodied instrument and the body resonates. This is just a chambered body. It just keeps the vibrations under control. It gives you the acoustic sound, the sustain, just on the guitar alone, without any amplification. So it's pretty phenomenal. It's still ringing, and what that proves to me, if it's sustaining, it means the body and the neck are connected. It means the nut is acting correctly. It means everything's adjusted at the saddle correctly. It's 8-38, these strings. These are the lightest strings you can almost get, and they are sustaining. It's pretty phenomenal. That was my initial impression, is the amount that it sustained and the tone of it. And if a guitar sounds good when it's acoustic, it'll definitely sound good when you plug it in, as long as the electrics work, as these do. I found that the middle control gave me enough of a boost. It wasn't a crazy amount of mid on the transducer pickup. In terms of dimensions, it's a 1 inch and 11/16 on the nut, which is fairly standard, and the string length is 25.5 inches. It's cedar top. It's actually a maple back. They've stained it and it made it look a bit dark. It's got the appearance of some sort of mahogany kind of colour. It's a kind of maple. Bolt-on neck. I've only got one criticism, which is if you break a string, you've got the bridge pins here. Normally you want to take the bridge pin out when you've broken a string. Now sometimes these get stuck in the position here, so if you're at a gig and you want to get a hand underneath inside the body and push up, what you've got to do on here is you've got to take the back panel off So what I've done is I've just left 2 screws in there and kept them pretty tight so the panel doesn't move. So in the event of an emergency, I would, you know, just need to take 2 screws off, not 6. But obviously they can go on when you're not gigging. Battery compartments, so this one's got a little pull-up flap, and there's the battery compartment. It's a pretty simple affair, and they've now put a little bit of ribbon in here, so you can just take the battery out quite easily. So this is the transducer sound in the bridge. It's the middle control. I'll leave them all central. If you want a mid-range boost, this is with the cut. It's like a slight cut. And this is a slight boost. So this is with, I put the middle back to the center. This is the bass control. So that's normal. That's with the bass fully on. This is with the bass completely off. Okay, and this is with the bass slightly off. And slightly on. And then the treble. This is taking the treble out. The treble slightly cut. Treble slightly boosted. So this is the humbucker. As you can hear, that's the bass control for the humbucker. There's bass all the way off. That's bass all the way on. This is the treble for the humbucker. That's all the way on. This is all the way off. A great compromise is to have the high end of the transducer, and then what I like to do is just use the consistency of the humbucker. And this is the great idea of having a blend control on an acoustic guitar, because transducers are inherently unstable, and one of the ways of correcting that was always to use a little bit of compression, and that smooths out any differences between the treble end and the bass end, and usually one end or the other would have a weakness. So the idea of having a humbucker in here, or any form of magnetic coil pickup, is fantastic, because in the event that you're not happy in any part of the frequency range, there may be one slight part of the frequency range you're not happy with. It may be the bass, it may be the treble, it may be the mids, it may be a deficiency in the PA system, it may be a deficiency in your amp if you're using one. Whatever it is, how many times have you been to a gig or played anywhere and you've not been happy with your sound? And what you need sometimes is all the EQ sometimes doesn't sort one particular problem out. What's nice to have is something consistent, and so the humbucker gives you a kind of consistency that you wouldn't have otherwise. So this is without the humbucker, and I'll introduce and blend the humbucker in. And so what this guitar does is it gives you almost the complete spectrum, because the transducer gives you the impression, and it is only an impression of an acoustic guitar. But if you do want to tame the high end, you've obviously got the EQ. You can add some mid-range, add some bass, and take off some treble. So I'm going to blend in this is the electric, the electric pickup. So obviously the difference between the two, you've got this sort of somewhat thinner sound, and then when you add the electric in, got more body of sound. But what's apparent is the acoustic nature is coming through, and because you've got this high end, it's cutting through, and you don't necessarily need the treble from the humbucker. Just playing about with the treble on the humbucker. That's with the treble off on the humbucker. With the humbucker fully on with the treble. Bearing in mind I've only got it up to maximum blend, I've probably got marginally less on the magnetic pickup. So there you have it, that's the Godin A6 Acoustic-Electric Guitar. You're getting a superbly engineered guitar, and one of the big ways to tell a decent guitar, run your hands up and down the side of the fretboard. All the frets on a Godin are finished really, really nicely. They're crowned really nicely. Every single fret seems to be even on any guitar, any Godin I've ever tried. I've never had any complaint about the initial setup, or the fret quality, or the build quality. I think they're even more fairly priced considering what you're getting and the quality of wood. So definitely check out the Godin A6. So anyway, I'll see you next time. Don't forget to subscribe. See you soon. Alright, bye.